So I'll just tell you about myself quickly. My name is Ixa. I'm a rapper, producer, DJ, performer, drag artist, and I'm based here in Berlin. I'm very into the tech side of music. I generally produce with synthesizers, drum machines, samplers, and also do a lot of software-based work and the integration of tech, lighting, and visuals into performance as well. And I've had quite a bit of work with Labile and the Diasporic Arts Alliance, as we've done plenty of performances and shows together. But I started to see that they were doing some VR and Metaverse work earlier this year, so I was a part of their series, which is now called Vibe, if I recall correctly, which is basically a series of virtual performances from Berlin-based artists where we create avatars and then through motion capture, make ourselves integrated into their metaverse platform called Yabal, where artists can then perform live for people that are into the space. So today we are with Thor and Sven Persson, who we will talk about their work in that space. So I will introduce them. Pardon me. So Sven Persson is Berlin-based, and they are doing work in the virtualization of events. In 2015, he fell into the rabbit hole of virtual reality. Since then, he has spent countless hours in virtual events in virtual nightclubs. In 2020, he started a virtual event series together with friends he met on a virtual platform called Sansar. Since 2021, he has been doing regular old school techno events at VR Chat. And you can find him nearly every weekend at the VR Chat underground rave scene. And he is happy to guide you on how to start your event. So.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, that's right. So I mostly don't want to talk about the job I do as a head of product at Nexer. That's also my job. But yeah, to give you the experiences of the VR chat thing that's happening, because there's really a rave scene where real people attend and it's a global audience. And I also have some videos to show you what is happening there. It's a really thriving underground scene. And yeah, we will talk about what's happening there. And if you're interested in going there, also you can talk to me after the meeting here or after the talk.
And next we have Thor Diogo. Hagedorn, how do I say that? Hagedorn. Sorry, I'm American, so we can't pronounce anything. Thor Diego Hagedorn is a game artist, singer, producer, DJ, event manager, mentor, and curator from Bremen, Berlin. Two different places, Bremen and Berlin, sorry. His artistic journey revolves around hip hop, graffiti, capoeira, and traditional tropical and urban sounds of Brazil. Thor started his music career as an autodidact in the late 90s and worked with national and international artists over the years. Since 2017, he's been a producer and performer in the tropical-based collective Labile, with a focus on promoting the equality of disadvantaged groups in their lineups, music, production, and events. Thor is the speaker of the Berlin Music Commission and graduated with a diploma in game art in 3D animation from the SAE Berlin in 2023. Congratulations. In 2021, he co-founded the event firm Diasporic Arts Alliance with Christine Serafin, focusing on IRL in real life and metaverse events. The Diasporic Arts Alliance is now part of the Web Lab Berlin and has presented its vision of the metaverse at various events, including the Berlin Dance Music event and Most Wanted Music. Thor is also a part of DEI 23, that stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion program, and will be curating a series of metaverse concerts with SAE this year.
Okay, that's a lot already. I cannot speak anything more about me, yeah. But I can just say, like, I really fell into the rabbit hole, what you call, of metaverse or gaming concerts because of my interest to gaming. I'm a gamer since I'm 6 years old, and yeah, I think the pandemic actually helped me into this topic more and more. I said, okay, I have to stop like selling shoes at what was it, at Karstadt, so let's do something about metaverse. And that's how it started. Yeah.
Thank you. So I wanted to ask each of you actually, do either of you have a defining video game experience that you would say kind of really set your enthusiasm for it?
I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan, so from the second part already, Daggerfall, I love that game, and then I saw the third part, Morrowind. It brought me really into. But I always, yeah, this is two games definitely that I like. Back then we had an Atari STE, which had great games. Most of them copied, and I think, yeah, Turrican. I don't know if anyone of you knows Turrican. It's kind of an arcade shooter game. But the good thing is about there was a composer. His name is Christian Hülsbeck, and actually there's also orchestras playing his music. This was amazing for what is it, 16 or 8-bit music or something, like really. Wow, the sound was great. That's why I love to play that game, and I think this is one of the games that brought me also into gaming and kept me playing games. Yeah.
Sven?
Yeah, I also started gaming in the 90s back then and played all these adventures, Zack McCracken, Manic Mansion, Street Sports Basketball, all this stuff. But when you ask me about more recent games, it's also old, but my all-time favorite is Journey. It's a game that, yeah, the title already said what it is. It's a journey through a desert, has a lot of atmosphere, a lot of nice music also included, and you really travel to different landscapes, and it's a really meditative experience. It's just 3 hours long, but I play it really once a year to get into this mood and into this atmosphere again. It's really awesome thing.
Well, so I want to start to ask you guys a few questions about your experience with Metaverse club culture. So I'll ask you first. You work with the Yabal platform. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with them and what you're doing with them?
So yeah, we have a band collective called Labaili, and like I said in the beginning of the pandemic, there were not stages, not anything in this direction. And as we also have in close work with the Berlin Music Commission, we thought about what are the streaming possibilities, and I was looking around, and this popped up. I think the band Etna was performing in Jabal, and I thought it's really interesting, so I wrote myself in. But I didn't write back. But throughout being a curator, I could find the rave space, which is actually today not here, but they have also a really interesting metaverse space. They do it, actually the last thing they did also for Samsung, so we can visit a shop. It's quite interesting. And then the rave space had an own electronic club that you can visit. It got even a bouncer that looks at you. Hey, you have the ticket. Okay, you can come in, and you can create stickers with your brand and put the stickers anywhere you want to. Drink alcohol, and it's reachable like from the computer. I think some of the rave space levels are also reachable throughout the mobile phone, which I thought a really good idea how to introduce yourself into the metaverse. And they had actually live DJs playing, like they're streamed via 2 cameras and they use green screen. So in the 3D space, you're going to see the DJs live performing. And I taught him about the idea that Labaili wants to perform, like we are five people, and we want to perform, but it's a dance performance. And he said, like, okay, that's going to be quite complex thing. So he said, but I got a friend. And then he reached out again to the guy from Jabal, and that's the way how it started. We said, like, yeah, we really want to do it. We got some fundings to create the avatars. We worked with a concept artist from Brazil to create the avatars. And yeah, we also have a level, like a kind of a stage that you can use and also perform. And that's how we started connecting. And after a while, we start also doing the concerts on Wednesday. So they have their own concert. I'm sorry. They have their own concert series running on Wednesday, but it was not frequently, and we started to make it frequently. We asked our friends and actually also tried to get a funding to get artists in, because we thought, like, hey, this technology is really cool. It's easy access, but it's also kind of an exchange in between people who don't have the experience. And I mean, Web3 is coming. We don't know how it's coming, but I thought we are on an important moment where we also have to educate our community. And our thought is like, okay, this stuff is extremely expensive. And normally it's mostly for people who don't have access to the technology. So we thought, okay, let's invite our friends who maybe don't have the access, and let's see that they have contact, maybe they're interested, maybe we can build something also, because in Web3, everything is about community. I think that's really the basement. That's how we started to make our Wednesday series where we invite really interesting Berlin and international artists. You can also always join IRL, like just come over to the places. Later we can change contact if you're interested, and just hang out, having a beer, see how we're working. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. So Sven, I want to ask you about your journey with VR, and can you just give us first just like a run through of how you got into it and then how you started to develop a project from it?
Yeah, maybe as a start, I started going to raves back in the early 90s. So Frankfurt Omen Club and stuff like that. And then when I fall into this VR rabbit hole in 2014 with the Oculus DK2, I thought about there must be something similar like this rave clubs I love in real life in this virtual worlds. So I had a look what is there, and there was one platform back then called Wave. And Wave back then was a virtual reality platform. They did shows called Waves with famous electronic music artists. And they also had a toolkit for people to build their own nightclubs and to DJ there. So I went to regular clubs there, people DJed there, and it was pretty nice. But as the Metaverse was really small back then, at some point they killed it. And as you might know, Waves, they now stream stuff on YouTube, and they had big shows with Justin Bieber, The Weeknd, and people like that. So I thought, okay, there must be some other platforms doing that. And then I seen that there's Sansa. Sansa was initially done by the people behind Second Life, and then they sold it to another company. And then there was a big festival there, a 3 days festival, done by the people behind the Glastonbury Festival. And the festival was called Lost Horizon, and they had really big artists. Fatboy Slim played there, Carl Cox, they had freestylers, Seth Troxler, all in a 3-day virtual festival. And it was at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was really awesome. And then they also started a club series every Saturday with really big DJ names. DJ Sneak, Blondish, Panport, a lot of people. But the audience was never that big. And so I thought, okay, Sansa is quite nice, but there's not a lot of people. There must be something else. And then somebody told me there is in VR chat a really vibrant scene. And there's a guy called Mas, who's a famous drum bass DJ, who does a club tour through 10 different clubs, each Saturday a different club. And then I went there, and in VR chat, one instance can hold up to 80 people, and it was full. There were 80 people there in these clubs, dancing, talking with each other, and doing what you do in real clubs, getting connected, drinking, doing illegal stuff at home in their living room, but yes. So I got into it, and now this scene is really vibrant, as I said. When you on every given Saturday, there are 40 to 80 different events in VR chat where you can choose from, starting from 2 p.m. in the afternoon. This is when the people from Japanese starting doing their clubs, and there are already 10 different clubs run at the same time parallel. And it's mostly electronic music and techno music, but so it's also J-pop, there is metal, people do breakdance battles there. So it's really like a little bit in Berlin that you have really big choice of different clubs, music styles, whatever you like. You find a lot of, and you can connect to a lot of people worldwide. And this is really the amazing thing about it. It's a global community.
Continue on that subject. I want to ask, because you said you were first engaging this back in 2014. And as I started to look through some of these platforms, I noticed that I guess the pandemic actually, seems to play a great role in the development of how people have seen streaming platforms and streaming concerts and performance as a viable way to sustain musical careers. But what would you say maybe differences you observed in how that was developing when you first started to see it versus what it started to become in the last few years, especially since the pandemic?
I mean, I started going to VR chat when the pandemic was already happening. But what you could see, of course, is with all these other platforms, you might have heard of Decentraland, Sandbox, Spatial, all these platforms. And they had a peak during the pandemic. A lot of people went there because they couldn't go to real clubs. But after the pandemic, not a lot of people stayed there. You might have read all these things that Decentraland had 36 users a day. But in VR chat, this scene is still existing, and it's even growing more and more. It's even getting bigger and bigger. They have clubs that have 2,500 to 5,000 people. There's a bi-weekly club called Shelter, and they had a partnership with a famous YouTuber called Thrill Seeker, and they got 5,000 people at one event. Over several instances, of course, not in one instance, but this is really vibrant. This is really still growing, and people starting their DJ careers there. And in VR chat, you could see that there is something that this could be the future.
I would like to ask you, with your background in game design, how does that influence your approach to working with metaverse club culture and concert spaces? And is there an influence there in what you see might be possible that is impossible in real life, or could be, I guess, like included with how we perform in real life?
Yes, I think what was like, because when I first started to go into the metaverse concerts through the VR, like through Oculus, I saw like platforms which actually like Altspace or Altspace is dead now since 20 days, I think, something. But back then it was like, woo, okay. And you could also create your own room. So I think they used also Unity as basement or something, Unity engine, if somebody is maybe used to that. So I said, like, okay, that's cool. I can actually, throughout the studies, I learned how to do it. And so I said, no, can implement also in the game. But the process was a bit complicated. But now when I saw also in direction of VR chat, I see everybody's coming with another avatar, creating, like they buy avatars from other people or they create them by themselves. And I really dig more into the part of like, hey, creating my own avatar, your own identity, or creating several identities. So I thought like, okay, I got the power to do that. I'm not depending on someone. I just have to figure out how that works. And this actually resembles a lot to how I learned hip hop music or something. It's like, I didn't have maybe a lot of money or anything, but I had my passion and I wanted to find out, just asking people, trying things, how does it work? Okay, I cannot buy like these expensive samplers, but maybe there's other ways, and that's how I also approach the VR space and just being creative and trying things. And with the Yaba projects, it's the same. This everything, my imagination is big, what we all can do with assets, and also how you connect music with assets, or like in the NFT situation, if these NFT really makes sense. I don't think on a spectacular like that use it as what you call it, speculation, more in a sense of really that they're practical to spread a product of an artist. So there are a lot of possibilities, and I know I can create that content. Like that's really good for me, like for myself. Yeah.
And I want to actually touch on what you said about the similarities between how you sort of like engaged and learned hip hop and what you're doing with the metaverse world and VR chat. What is, or can you just go a little bit deeper into how you intend to, or how you go about focusing and prioritizing, centering disadvantaged groups to be able to engage some of these platforms and work in these spaces?
So when I think about Web3 and how, like this is super complex question because there's so many layers, but like we all know the issue about Spotify. So lot of not so many people get most of the money, and this is because of labels had actually good contracts with Spotify and all that things. And the Web3 world is should be constructed in a way that all these pyramiden are a bit lower, and people have less. People in between that earning money, but actually doesn't have shit to do with music. And this might be easier than for people really like create communities, because actually what you also do in situations where you don't have so much money, the community is your value. And you have to build these communities, you have exchange and everything. And hip hop is a really good starting point from that, because we build communities, we create communities, we exchange informations. Also, I think there was in the hip hop times back then, like you had these exchange, but of course, like there are different layers of privilege, like the people who they're suffering in Germany with less economic possibilities. It's not, you cannot compare it like in a situation with Brazil or something, but still there is a kind of connection in how you build up a community and how you exchange information. And I think Web3 has all this potential to reach a lot of people. And I just want to give another example that makes me really thinking of how this new technology can help people in communities. I say, like back in the days it was called favelas. In Brazil we say it communities. Just saying, my background is also, my mom is from Brazil, so I have a lot of connection to that world too. You all know what cloud gaming is? Yeah? So it's like you get, like if you want to play a video game, normally you have your computer at home. But with cloud gaming, you can take the power from the internet somewhere as a server or something, and you can even play a game which is super complex like Fallout 4 or something on your mobile phone. So if you imagine you're in a community and you cannot buy a really expensive computer, but at least you have access to a computer somewhere, and you could, throughout fundings and throughout projects that support that, you can have access to strong machines to create something in the world. That was always my thought, and that's how I think on whole, like about Web3 and the possibilities. They are there, and yeah. I don't know if you can follow my thought so much, but the idea is like that's like I have another thought about that too. It's basically when music production was getting to software, like more, you didn't need an expensive sampler, but you could, like in Brazil, people were doing a lot of piracy, which is bad for the companies maybe, but in the other, yeah, it's debatable, exactly, that's what I mean. But for the culture, it was actually amplifier. It helped a lot to grow new music styles and also like to make a better sound and let also the music spread worldwide. And you see nowadays how much the influence is for like African music, Latin American music, like Bali funk, for example, how much influence it brings into our music. And this is just because of that. Like, this is one of the reasons. Like, yeah.
This kind of makes me think of sampling and mixtape exchanging. It's like another iteration of that. So I want to actually go into the direction of like community and access, because you were touching on this earlier when we were chatting before this about you wanting to make a platform that's accessible for anyone to be able to use. And can you touch on that for us?
The great thing in this VR chat or in this virtual world is wherever you are in this world, you can play in a virtual club. You might not have the chance to play in a club because there might not be a club nearby and it's hard to get a slot. But in virtual reality, nearly every club gives you a chance to play there. Like myself, I never was a DJ in my life, and in the age of 44, somebody told me, Espen, you talk so much about music and the 90s and so, don't you want to do a party? And so I started to do a 90s rave, and it was awesome because I had 40, 50 people at my parties listening to me DJing, which never before happened. And I see this a lot of times that people really start DJing in VR. And there's people like Mas, and he has a bi-weekly open deck session. And when somebody is awesome and he likes him, he even invites him to his tour. Mas does really big gigs in the US in front of 20,000 people. And the people playing with him in his VR clubs, he books them for his real life gigs. So it gives the people the chance to play in front of people for the first time, and then to also get a job. And for the community, for the people visiting, that's also awesome, because what you always hear about VR chat is that people with social anxiety that don't like to go out or don't like to get in contact with people and avoid going to clubs, go to VR chat and make their first social experiences there, and then start going to clubs and lose a bit of their social anxiety and start connecting with people and start doing party stuff. So also this is an aspect where VR chat really helps people to grow and to personally overcome issues.
Thank you very much. I think that was one of the things I thought was interesting about some of these platforms, if I can just inject my perspective on some of them, is that it's cool that they're making them function in a way where they can be rendered from any user like access point. So whether that's a tablet or a laptop or a mobile device, it's I haven't got a chance to check out your site, and I'll introduce Philip in a second, who made an entrance. But I think that that's very important, is also the fact that these things are being developed in a way that whatever access point you have, it actually all renders there, so you don't need to get some sort of new expensive device to be able to use these things. You can just use them from anything that we have access to. So I will introduce who just joined us late here. I'm often late myself, so don't worry. Can we get Mike here? Can we get this one on? Front of house. But I'll introduce you in the meantime. We have Philip Cohn from 12. Is that 12x12 or 12 by 12? I wasn't sure if you did X or by, so 12 by 12. And Philip Cohen is the CXO and co-founder of 12 by 12, who stands for Shaping the Future of Music Like No One Else. As CXO and co-founder of 12 by 12, he and his team transform creative ideas into digital collectibles, creating more visibility for music and art creators. The goal is to bring the value of music and music-inspired art back to the fans. Previously as CPO and co-founder, he managed the technological evolution of VAM,
The VAM, yeah.
a visual assets management platform that helps uncover unlicensed image to use to protect creative work worldwide. I'm going to say that again correctly so it's understood because I think that's actually important. It's a visual assets management platform that helps uncover unlicensed image use to protect creative work worldwide. Further career stations were 029 and Dre and Noel, Agentor for Mediatainment. So welcome.
Thank you so much, and please excuse me for being late. I was just coming from another panel from Britta Wutzke, and unfortunately we were a little bit took a little bit longer because we had so many questions from the audience. That was about music NFTs. Thank you so much for this introduction. By listening to it, it's way too long, and I really have to update it. But super happy to be on the stage here and share our thoughts and our perspective on Metaverse, especially for the music industry. And what helped us really thinking about Metaverse and virtual reality and how we want to include this in our service portfolio or infrastructure that we offer to labels and artists out there. We were looking at why would anybody go there? Right? Why is this relevant? Right? So there was like a hype on this virtual life industry, and this is the next big thing. And the first pushback that you get, obviously, is always like, this will never substitute life experience, right? And it won't, to be honest. I mean, probably in 100 years, when you have like full immersive suits and anything, and you can't distinguish between reality and virtuality, then this might be the case. But this is not why we do this. The reason why we did it was with all this complexity that comes with it, we wanted to offer or complete our product portfolio to artists and labels, also to have a very low barrier performance space, right? So our metaverse, I mean, there's only one metaverse, so our contribution to the metaverse is a virtual performance space. This is how we call it, and it consists of a event space with a stage, a bar where you can have some drinks, and a merchandise stand. Right, so a pretty like a copy paste kind of thing from reality. That makes it very easy for artists to understand what you can do there, and also talking about accessibility. It's browser based. We work with Wavespace, great partner. Very unfortunate that Frank cannot be here today, but so people can just join from their iPhone, from their iPad, from their laptop. They don't need any additional devices or anything. So. But why is this relevant, right? And when we look at how communities and groups and friendships are forged and shaped nowadays with the new generations coming up, we see that regionality or locality, what is the word for that? I don't know. So to be physical at the same space or the same area is not important anymore, right? So people go online. This is where they meet people. This is where they make friendships, and it's more about shared interests, the so-called tribes that develop, right? And when you think about a group of people playing Fortnite, and they have the same interests, they like the same artists, the same music, right? It's very difficult for them, maybe they're spread across countries or even within a country, very far from each other, and they want to have other experiences, and they want to share experiences from their joint favorite artists. Right? So what they can do is they can just say, hey, I'll play 2 hours of Counter-Strike, and after that we go to a Metaverse gig from our favorite artist. We can go there as a group, share this experience, create collectible experiences that we can share with each other. And this is the reason why the Metaverse for us is there when it comes to music industry, to really be able to provide that for the upcoming and growing communities and generations, the digital natives out there. And there's a lot of advantages also right? So it's a very scalable thing to create a recording of a virtual performance that you can reuse anytime you want, for example, right? So you have super low cost to set this up. If you come to us, you can do a 2-hour show for, up to 5,000 euros, right? So, but that's it, all in, right? You just pay 5,000 euros and you can have a full show. So there you can see that there are some upsides for doing this, but I also always want to emphasize it's never the job is never to really substitute live performances, and I think it will never accomplish that.
So before I ask you a particular question, I have to ask you a question asked everyone else. Do you have a video game experience that really defines your love for gaming? And
I grew up with Monkey Island and Larry, obviously, so I'm old, but I was a Counter-Striker, played in some clans, and I have very intimate relationship with gaming. I still play today when I find the time. But yeah, I do.
Do any of you, by any chance, know the game Nights into Dreams for Sega Saturn? No. That's my favorite all-time game. Check it out. I'm going to recommend it to you personally later. It's very trippy. It actually kind of reminds me of some of the things I've seen in rave space and other spaces that I was like checking out before this, as sort of like floating through an open world. But it came out in 95, 96, so it's like the early 32-bit era of what's going on now. So that's super cool. So when I was going through your platform, I noticed that you had like a marketplace and a gallery that had like music available, but some of the music singles were like in an NFT product format, which I think is unique to me because I haven't, engaged the platform where I saw this up closer with my own eyes. But I wanted to ask you, actually, what role do you see NFTs playing in the future of independent artist promotion and distribution, and with regards to facilitating sustainable careers for musicians?
Yeah, a great question. I think it's difficult to hold. I really have to go and get out my crystal ball to look into the future. But I can share a little bit how we see it. And when we see it, we see streaming platforms a little bit like the radio stations of the future. This is really going to be more marketing platforms for artists to be discovered, and also for fans really to discover artists and new music. But this is not where we see the direct exchange from fan to artist, and also not the direct like D2C monetization that's popular there. So when I say streaming platforms are the radio, then I would say music tokens or music NFTs are going to be the album sales of the future, right? So when we look at the pyramid of fandom, or the structure of your artist community, you have the casual audience, your active audience, your engaged fans, and you have your super fans, right? And those super fans usually are up to 2% of your community, but make up to 80% of your revenues. So if you really want to make a living as an artist, you shouldn't care, from our opinion, you shouldn't care too much about if you have 50,000 followers or 60,000 followers. You should really rather care about what am I going to do with the 500 to 1,000 fans who really into what I'm doing. Right, and how can I engage with them, and maybe do storytelling with them together, have them participate in my process, because they will reward you as an artist with buying your stuff. As plain as that, right? They will pay for exclusive experiences, of exclusive pre-listening sessions of your album. They will pay for exclusive tracks or remixes or commentary on your album, or behind-the-scenes format content from your production. So this is really what we are about, creating two product classes on our marketplace: digital vinyl, which is all about the track or the music itself, and the Fan X product, which is all about experiences, which can be like on Discord or on Zoom or in our Metaverse or wherever you want to do it. And this is what we're focusing on, and Metaverse obviously is then one of the things to complete this portfolio for us.
It's actually really interesting. I never considered that perspective, because I'm like a longtime music fan, and maybe of what could have been called underground music at one point in time, which a major part of music fandom is like collecting. especially if you can. Maybe back in the '80s and '90s, people would have tried to get bootlegs of concerts that you couldn't attend because you had to really be there in real life. Maybe there were exclusive shirts you could only get on tour, posters, other rare marketing or promotional objects, and there is such that marketplace actually for dedicated fans who will pay a higher price, and this is long before the internet, for this exclusive experience for these things that like you couldn't have accessed them unless you were there. So it's worth more. So that's a really interesting perspective.
I mean, maybe to add to this, you just need to look at the vinyl market, the secondary vinyl market today. It's still billions of dollars every year, but that's going on analog, on flea markets, or even distributed through the internet. So you can already see that, to be a collector and be a music fan really goes hand in hand. And you have the problem, obviously, with me being the generation of copy and pasting online. Content really doesn't have a value. It's abundantly accessible for everyone, especially in music with streaming platforms as well. But with blockchain technology, you are able to produce a provenance, a really originality of this content, and you can produce scarcity, right? You can just say, I'm just going to produce 1,000 of those, right? And that's what's ever going to be out there, right? There might be people to infringe that and they copy paste it, but they never really own it, right? So, and when you then think about the secondary market opportunities out there, where it's not depending on sending a vinyl from A to B, but really just being on digital marketplaces and being able to collect and exchange and trade and barter, there's a new industry coming up. Once the framework from the regulation, legal and technically, are there to provide everything that the user is needing.
I want to come back to Sven. I wanted to ask, what were some of the kind of practical and maybe technological challenges that you encounter when you're developing a platform for virtual club culture, for example, or trying to maybe innovate new ideas in this space?
I mean, the platform I mostly talk about, VRChat, has really big performance issues. That's, for example, the reason why only 80 people can be there. VR headsets, because that's the experience you really want to have. Of course, you can have this experience in a browser, and it's nice, you can talk with people, and we know it all from gaming. But the real deal is really when you are there in virtual reality, because this is the difference between looking at something and being somewhere. And this is not that widespread currently. So this is a problem, and you really also need a really beefy PC. Like, I have a really expensive PC at home with a 3090 graphics card, and I still have frame rate issues. So when you have a world like VRChat, where you have a lot of different avatars, a lot of different varieties, and not standard avatars, you have performance issues. But these issues will be solved within the next years. It's currently that holds everything back a bit, and that's why also virtual worlds don't look that good at the moment. Currently, at least most of it. I also have an example. If you want to have a look at a short video, we can have a look at this video, what people think, how virtual race look like, because that gives you an example what people currently think how virtual race look like and how most of them look like because of these technical issues and how VRChat looks like. But for VRChat, you have to have a really strong PC to run it. Let's see if we get the video played. The first part of the video is from Decentraland, a platform most of you might heard of. And the second part is, this VRChat thingy. Let's see if it is working. Yeah, looks like.
Give me a signal. Okay, here we go.
So this is the Decentraland part. And when you look at it, I mean, it doesn't look that amazing. You think, what should I do there? It looks boring. It looks, people stand around. It's not really attractive. At least not for me. Maybe for you. I think I don't want that. And this is section in the VRChat Club. And this is much more close to the real thing, to what you really want to have. With people dancing, real DJs, real-time visuals, DJ in the virtual world, and in the room dancing. But to run that, as I said, you need to have a really expensive PC. And you want to be there in VR. You don't want to watch it on a monitor, you want to be in there. And then this is a really cool experience. Yeah.
To
Yeah, but it's turned off. I think this is turned off too until the video is done. No. Is this working?
Check.
Again?
Yeah, there we go. It's really cool. You ever see Tron Legacy?
Yeah.
A little bit.
It reminds me of the club
Was it a
scene.
trailer?
Yeah, exactly. The high concept. Before we go to Q&A, I just want to ask you, can you just tell me how your music industry experience and I guess your just experience going through production and DJing and working with other artists is influencing what you're doing with Metaverse concerts and what your goals are there?
Yes, I mean, I like to try a lot of things. That's also that's what's when me also gonna start now. But I also tried already how to DJ in VR chat, for example. There are different ways. I can just make a quick introduction so you understand. You have the VR glasses on. Normally you cannot see your controller, so this is an issue. So you might glimpse through the VR glass, but then you cannot really look at the people, and it's kind of annoying. So you can put, for example, a camera over your controller and stream this camera into the space. So actually you can see into the real world onto your controller inside the VR world and can DJ. This is all possible, and it's not too complicated. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. You can even put your playlist to the side. So it's really nice DJing like this because you can interact with the people in the front. This is what I really like about VR chat. You are like in the world. The visuals are really great. They react on sound, and even there can be other people like in a real production being involved. And as I do production for stage, music production, and I did everything a bit, I know like every little part that is possible that you could do. So this is really good thing. And on the other hand, when it comes to Yaba, I mean, then I like the playful part of it and think about cool dance performances and also bring people in when we curate the events that dance and move a lot and that can animate and having this, I think a really good section also like the entertainment, that you have a real contact with your crowd and that they can ask things. You can even have interview situations. That's what we normally do with the artists at the end, always have an interview situation. I start to write things to the artist replying, and then everybody else from the community starts also asking things, and this is a really fun process. And I think this is also what I take a bit from making music.
I think that was one thing that was really cool about the experience with Yabal and during the performance is that I saw like a lot of potential for actually being able to communicate with the audience directly, and because of I'll just explain also a little bit how that worked. Basically, you were wearing a motion capture suit. I don't know if you know the game Mortal Kombat from the 90s, but one of the innovations of that was that they had actors who wore these suits that had sensors on them so that they were able to render the real life video onto, I guess, these video game sprites. So that was a big deal in the 90s because it looked almost movie-like for the time. So this is kind of an expansion on that technology where you're able to completely and accurately and ergonomically like control an avatar with every motion of your body, so that even down to the fingers, even down to, you know, every appendage, every articulation that you have in your body is like being detected. So if you can imagine like doing something like twerking or something like, you know, pole dancing, gymnastics, you can actually really, you know, see your avatar doing this, as well as the facial rendering allows you to, it actually animates the moving of the mouth. So when you're doing a performance and you're singing, you can actually see the movement of the mouth on the avatar. So there's also like the potential, and this is connected to a microphone, so you can actually just directly communicate. So if you can imagine a situation where an artist might be able to like conduct a town hall, so to speak, with literally like 5,000 people or something in a real time like that, like this is really, you know, what some of this stuff is about. So I guess before we go to a Q&A, I'll give everyone a chance to maybe give some final thoughts that they want to share.
Just wanted to add to this, because when you look at AI, especially Move AI, in combination with LiDAR scanners that you have on your smart devices, you can see how rapidly you're moving into solutions that basically every individual can use in order to, you know, being projected into a virtual world with an avatar and being synchronized with the movings that you do in the real world. So I think it's not, I mean, maybe 6 months or something until you really have a solution, maybe a little bit longer. So you can also see really production costs going down massively, and this is something that we especially are waiting also on, because this will solve the problem a little bit that you have at the metaverse performances right now that we see, and this is really being live and really being able to interact with the audience and do this in a way that is affordable for all the parties involved at the moment. But I think everybody's saying metaverse is dead, right? At the
Got on. Like,
yeah. It's already dead. I'm sorry, you're too late to the party. And I think when you see those news out there, you please don't forget about all the people playing games, being online, being literally in virtual reality and in the metaverse. Millions of people every day meeting there. So this is going to be a thing, right? And I can only recommend to everybody, just go there and try it out. Right? I mean, we do a metaverse show every Wednesday with befriended electro DJs doing a performance. It's free, it's browser based, you don't need VR glasses, just come by and have a look, create your avatar and interact with other music fans there, and just get your experience and get your feel for it, what it means for you and what opportunities you see interacting in the virtual world.
So everybody knows what Move AI is? No. Okay, that's okay. Just it's good to say, because Move AI is kind of like we're using the suits, like you explained, for controlling the avatars. And Move AI is also a motion capture service, but you use cameras, and through AI, the AI understands like, this is movement, and so you can control the avatar. It's still kind of expensive and complex, but the future make it easier for everyone to be accessible from home, for example. You don't need an expensive suit, which is like 17,000 euros. You just put two cameras and can just join with your avatar into the world. Yeah, the good thing is like the Wednesday is full of good events. I think your event is before our event, basically. So yeah, it's a warm. Nah, it's not a warm up. You know, on the other hand, it's also interesting because these three systems are different kind of metaverses. So the way they are working with Race Space is another way we're working, and also what Sven was talking about VR chat. So it's really nice, different cases to see different cases. Yeah, so we have our Metaverse concerts too. It's also Wednesdays, start at 8 p.m. CET, so you can join online with your PC. But also one part which is really important for us, and that's what I said about community in Web3. You can also join us just in the studio, get to know us, have a beer with us, chat, bring ideas in. So if you want to join before like 6:30, 7, just join and yeah, have fun.
Yeah, plugging events. Maybe we can play the shelter video now, because tomorrow will be another Metaverse talk here, and a friend of us, Leander, will host the talk, but there will also be someone called Synthesizer. She's a very famous DJ on VR chat, and she's from the US, and she will be part of the panel tomorrow, and there will also be a showcase tomorrow at 7 here in the screen room. And now let's have a short video of her playing at Shelter, this one famous VR club. And yeah, come here tomorrow at 6, hear her talking, or at 7 and see the demo where she plays inside VR chat. And you can see it here in the green room. And you also see the crowd in the art chat, very energetic, sending emotes, dancing in the living room, and dancing in the art.
Die Raumtiere versuchen den Menschen und Missgunst und die Seelen vergiften. Wir haben die Geschwindigkeit entwickelt, aber innerlich sind wir stehen geblieben.
And you said people can come. It's at 6.
6 is the panel, and
Right,
at
right.
7 will the demo start. The demo will be for 2 hours, and yeah, there will be screens where we'll get protected, but there will also be VR stations where you can have a look how it really feels to be in VR chat, and to experience the party.
Very cool. So I will open it up to questions from the audience if we have it. Do like an Oprah sort of thing, if you want to, just so at least people watching online can hear.
Sorry, I wrote it down so that I don't say anything stupid. So I basically had a question throughout your entire discussion here that maybe you could summarize. There were already some suggestions maybe. Since Metaverse is here to stay, but it's still kind of like you also said during your when you were saying when you were talking that it's not to replace the in real life experience here. Then how do you see in the future the Metaverse club culture kind of coming in balance and maybe collaborating with the in real life club culture? How do you see these things balancing each other out?
Maybe first of all, not replacing the real thing. That's easy to say when you live in Berlin, but imagine living somewhere where there's not a club nearby. And people there are quite happy that this exists. But about the future, something that happens, for example, is that these shelter people do hybrid events. So they have a real life club with people in this club, and at the same time, this party happens in the metaverse worldwide. So you can go there in real life, and you can also experience it in the metaverse. And imagine you have a club and you're a promoter and you can fit 600 people in the club. I mean, it's full, you cannot make any more revenue. But when you have a hybrid event and you have a famous DJ, you can have a worldwide event with it. And that's, I guess this hybrid thing will be the future of clubs, that it happens in real life and in the virtual world at the same time.
Yeah, I can just I agree with everything that you said. Maybe in addition to that, I think Metaverse experience also have a really great marketing potential. So because it's very easy accessible for everyone with 2 clicks and you're there. So in regards of promoting a tour or a live tour or anything, right? So you would always be able to create maybe teaser experiences in the metaverse, to create a hype and create awareness for your live tour. Maybe this in addition, but I think in reality, hybrid solutions or hybrid events is going to be a strong use case in the future. But it's going to be interesting to see how the focus of experiences are going to differ between the experiences that people are looking for going to a live event and the experiences people are looking for at a virtual event. So you will always have. It will always be difficult and challenging for you just to copy paste, right? You will have to add something in the virtual reality in order to make it last and worthwhile. My guess.
Yeah, I think also when it comes also the same. I agree with you guys. This, it's possibility of hybrid events. Also, for example, if you have an artist performing on a festival, he could wear a suit or any other mocap system and run a concert in VR or in kind of a game on different instances. This can be also kind of monitored by other people or even by the artist, that the artist can also see a bit maybe of the virtual world while seeing also the real world and interacting with these different spheres. You can also bounce this information back again on the big screen. Maybe then you can see also the virtual world. So there are these possibilities to make the hybrid part possible. But I think there's also the surprising part where it's going to grow in. I mean, Metaverse is not dead or not gone or whatever, because every time when I start a panel talk or something, I talk about World of Warcraft and other things first. They always existed and there was interaction and kind of entertainment, and now we're trying to put the music into this entertainment, so it will exist. Metaverse is not dead.
It's the Ghana hype cycle. I don't know if you know it. This is this thing that it goes up and then it reaches a certain hype level and then it goes back to normal and then settles at a certain level. And this is what the metaverse will do. I mean, the hype is over, but I mean, the scene is pretty alive and vibrant. So it continues to live. It's just not that hype anymore.
2 words, mocap couture. I see it. All right, any next question?
Paywall behind, and if so, what's the average ticket price of such kind of event?
I can quickly add to this. So the midweek metaverse events that we do at the moment there's no paywall. You just go there. It's a link. You click on it. You enter the metaverse, choose your avatar, and then you go. right? Our virtual performance space is set up on our marketplace infrastructure. So once you log in with your 12 by 12 account, we scrape your wallet and we understand what tokens you hold. And depending on what tokens you hold, you have access to different rooms, to different products and services, or this can be a ticket to a Metaverse concert, obviously, right? So we are able to build build token-gated experiences within the Metaverse, but right now, I mean, payment is always a high barrier for people to try something out. So for the moment, right now, we decided to have to not set up a paywall.
Yeah, we do have it in a way. We started with Ready Player Me avatars first. So Ready Player Me is a platform where you can create an avatar, put some nice clothes on or whatever you want, and can join normally in different kind of metaverse experiences. The avatars, like the artists have Ready Player Me avatars, but our guests, they have our own avatars, which each avatar is individual and an NFT, and this is like a pass. So you buy one for 60 medics, for example, as a whitelist, and then you have access to all the concerts every Wednesday.
Maybe about VRChat, the thing is it's mostly free. What most people do is that they have a Patreon, but also VRChat is now introducing a monetization system. And the thing there is that you have this main instance where 80 people fit in, and there's also the DJs and the people who build the world. And when this is full, another instance gets deployed, and you can go to the other instance. But people want to be in this main instance because they want to talk to the DJs, to the VJs, to whoever. And the future will be that you pay to get into these main instances. Beside of that, they do monetization by selling avatars and virtual items. That's also the thing. But the main thing is really being with the artists in the same instance and being able to connect with them.
Artists can earn money with it, or it's just when they buy about the avatar, it's the platform is earning money, but not the DJ, isn't it?
I mean, the plan is that the artist gets money with it, of course. You make these parties, and then you get a share of this money, like the people already earn money with Patreon. Not that much, of course, because it's very small, but I think Mas, for example, makes 1,000 euros per month. That's not a lot, but it's a very small thing, and it's just a start. But when you see it growing, this could be a business totally. And people love avatars. When you look at VRChat, when you go to a club, like Ghost Club is one really famous Japanese club, and then the people wear clothes with Ghost Club patches on it. And in the future, you can just sell this clothes and avatars that fit into this club. So the monetization will come, but very slowly.
I mean, the best example is the Travis Scott concert. You see like most of the sell was throughout the avatars and all the extras, assets and everything. So this was kind of a concept. Yes, yeah, I think this is an example to it too.
I mean, it's the same here. We did a pretty big 2-day Deutschrap festival with, I think, 15 artists. And we saw that ticket sales is challenging, but once you have them there, they really are willing to spend on extra merchandise. So, and this is something that we see everywhere. To be honest, right now, I think the pure live performance experience in virtual worlds is not there yet, right? And it's still working on its product market fit and really finding the experiences or the features that you need in order to make it worth a while. I think also a lot of metaverse thinking about marketing wrong, because I think you have to approach groups, you have to tribes of shared interests, because you sell more group tickets, because one of the biggest hurdles that we saw in our research with the people that we talked to were, what am I doing there alone when I go there, right? If I go to a concert, I always go with friends. Right, so this is what we changed heavily, and we could see a lot of upside and advantages around that. So just selling group tickets, or maybe sell one ticket and give 2 or 3 for free, so that people can share it. You have a great multiplier. You have a chance of like having this going viral just a little bit, but it's always a barrier for people to enter. So I would always keep this barrier as low as possible, as low as you can, and then really focus on the right products that you can, sell accompanying your metaverse performance.
Maybe to add what Philip just said, of course you go there because of the artist, but you stay because of the people you met. When you go to VR chat, you easily get to know people, and then you're with them in the same Discord or you're connected otherwise, and then they say the next weekend, hey, do we met in VR chat again? There's this DJ playing at this club, let's meet again. So really community building is really important. As I said, the artist, of course, is also important too, to bring the people, but community is the most important part. That's what keeps the people on your platform.
Yeah, and then you have to the possibilities also just to turn down the music and talk to your friends if you want to, even if you like the artist or something. But then you found your community and just you start talking, and the music is not too. The music is too loud. You don't have to go out. You just chill. No smoker areas. You can smoke at home. Everything's good. I mean, when it's like. About also like the other way of monetization is normally when a label, if you're not really good connected with the label, reach out to you, they're gonna ask you to pay for the artist. Like they're gonna ask the platform, hey, you can pay 3,000 for the artist because through us we're gonna get reach. You're gonna get reach, and then you have to think about marketing strategies around that. How are you gonna make money? Like there might be some NFTs and other things. How you can like have some shares through royalties or anything which involves the artist. For example, these can be marketing concepts.
I just want to, if you ever want to try it out, or you're an artist yourself, or have artists that you know that want to try it out, you can always reach out to us. Because with the midweek metaverse gigs that we do, we had a lot of like content stored, so to say, that we started to publish now every week. But obviously the goal is, to use that also for smaller artists, to have the chance just to, try it out, right?
Before we go, I'll give everyone a chance actually to say exactly how people can reach you. So I did want to do that too. That's important. Is there any other questions from the audience? Don't be shy. All right, well then I will ask actually if you want to maybe tell how people can get to your specific platform.
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest thing, if you're interested as an artist, just reach out to me on LinkedIn. If you're here in the room, then just come to me. I'll stay a few minutes and we can have a chat. I think otherwise 12 by 12, right? If you Google it, you will find the marketplace pretty quickly. And once you've reached our homepage, you can go to the Metaverse, you can go to the marketplace, browse a little, and you will also have the chance here to get in contact with the team. So please reach out, right? This is really what our heart is pumping for, to go out there and show how it's done and to make people aware how easy it actually is. And we try to demystify Metaverse and Web3 out there so that people really understand what the benefits are, instead of talking about all the tech and all the legal stuff and all the problems and challenges that you have in this space, but rather talk about the positive benefits that artists are able to provide to their fans in a virtual or online world.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out to Jabal or DAA, but you can also just write on Instagram, just send me an inbox. Like I'm also doing the social media there, so it's Jabal, YABAL.io, and yeah.
And yeah, for VR Chat, you can also reach me on LinkedIn or talk with me after this talk here. And VR Chat is really simple. You just stream to Twitch, and then the Twitch stream will be played inside VR Chat. And if you're in VR or not, doesn't really matter. Your music gets played in VR. Of course, it's the best when you are in VR yourself, or at least you look at it at the monitor, but you can just stream to Twitch, like you do it maybe in any ways, and then play it in VR Chat, and that's it.
I want to give questions, one last chance in the audience. No. Any final thoughts to share?
I was really happy to have this round, because it's interesting, we're so different. Metaverse, and thank you all for being here and listening to us, and yeah.
Everybody maybe remember what we talked about here today, because next year it's going to be a different world. And it's because I can see this already, being in this space for a couple of years now, just comparing this to last year. how much people already know, how people are more willing to actually try it out and understand that this is going to be changed and it's really going to happen. And I need to learn what it is and how to deal with that. This is really promising. So this is what I always try to do for myself, to see, okay, I'm sitting here. I will be sitting here probably, or hopefully next year, and it's going to be a totally different ball game. So from what we know and have experienced, but also from what the audience already knows and can bring to the table. So this is always exciting for us.
I can just recommend to try it out. For example, tomorrow here, where we have this showcase running, because talking about it is really abstract, but being there and really seeing yourself how it is really the thing you want to do. And as we said, it's not substituting clubs in real life. It's something totally different. It's a different experience. But it's a cool, crazy experience. So yeah, try it.
Really interested to try out the shelter. Actually, I think I will even come for that. So I also want to give you just a chance. You have a IRL event coming up that you maybe want to plug. Yeah.
That's like what is it called? Fête de la Musique. We're gonna play at Brandenburger Tor with Labaili. So if you want to shake your booty, like to good tropical bass music, you know, we're playing at 9:30 in the evening. So just pop by. It's for free, and just have some fun with us. Like we're really like drill instructing, so it's gonna be hot.
Christine, you maybe want to plug your new release? Oh, wow, sure. Can you hand Christine a microphone or?
Okay, so aside from being co-founder of Diasporic Arts Alliance, I'm also an artist, and I go by Sarah Kahlo, and my album is going to be released June 23rd. I just recently released an audiovisual EP that uses a lot of 3D graphics and motion capture suits and everything to create a short film that I'm going to be screening at Act Berlin next week, Tuesday. So, yeah, check it out. Sarah Kahlo, June 23rd. Woo!
Wow.
Right, and as always, I'm Ixa. You can find my music on. You actually put my stuff on Bandcamp, so it's iixxaa.bandcamp.com. That's the easiest place to find my stuff if you're interested. Thank you guys so much for coming. I hope we can actually continue to have more chats about this, because I also think I saw a lot of potential myself just from engaging like your platforms and stuff of where this is going, and I do believe that actually we're going to see greater integration of like the virtual world and the metaverse world and the concerts. And I think the first thing I took from it was that there's so much room for us to expand the real life experience with these things rather than replacing them. So I thank you all for your contributions to that development and look forward to seeing where it goes. So thank you all. Thank you all out there in the digital world.